It's 2 in the morning. Your dog is asleep, right next to you. Their head is on your leg. Their breathing is slow. And somehow, they're taking up 80% of the bed. Now, most people think this situation says something about the dog, that the dog is clingy or spoiled, or just loves warmth. But psychologists say something much more interesting. It actually reveals something about you, because the decision to share your sleeping space with an animal every night isn't random. It's a behavior deeply connected to human psychology, attachment patterns, and how our brains process safety. And the people who do it consistently tend to share a few surprising traits. The first trait, they value emotional security over social norms. For a long time, sleeping with a dog was considered strange. Some people still say things like, dogs belong on the floor, but millions of people ignore that completely. In fact, surveys show that nearly half of dog owners allow their dog to sleep in their bed. Why? Because humans are wired to seek safe physical presence during sleep. For most of human history, we didn't sleep alone. Anthropologists studying early societies found that humans slept in groups, families, tribes, communities. Being alone while unconscious meant vulnerability. Our brains still carry that ancient wiring. So when someone sleeps beside a trusted companion, even if that companion is a dog, the brain interprets that presence as protection, and protection reduces anxiety, which leads to the second psychological pattern. People who sleep with dogs often have lower nighttime anxiety. Researchers studying sleep behavior have discovered something strange. When people sleep with dogs, their sleep is technically more interrupted. Dogs move, they reposition, sometimes they kick. But despite the interruptions, many owners report feeling more relaxed and secure. Their brain is prioritizing emotional safety over perfect sleep conditions. Think of it like a child sleeping with a nightlight. The light doesn't make sleep deeper, but it makes sleep feel safer. Your dog becomes that signal of safety, and that safety signal triggers something powerful in the brain. Oxytocin, the bonding chemical. There's a hormone called oxytocin. It's sometimes called the bonding hormone. Your brain releases it when you hug someone you love, when a parent holds their baby, when you feel emotionally connected. Scientists discovered that interactions with dogs trigger the same chemical response. When you pet your dog, when your dog looks at you, when you sit close together, your brain releases oxytocin. And here's the important part. Oxytocin reduces stress hormones like cortisol, which means that being physically close to your dog literally tells your nervous system, you're safe. Now imagine that happening for 8 hours every night. This is why some people feel uneasy when their dog isn't in the room. Not because they're dependent, but because their brain has learned that the dog's presence equals calm. But there's another personality trait. Researchers notice people who sleep with their dogs often score higher in something psychologists call empathetic attachment. These are individuals who naturally form strong emotional bonds with animals. They don't see pets as property, they see them as family members. And interestingly, brain imaging studies suggest that when these owners look at their dogs, areas associated with parental care activate, the same regions that activate when people look at children, which means something fascinating. For many owners, sleeping with their dog isn't just comfort, it's an expression of caretaking behavior, a subconscious signal that says, this being belongs in my inner circle. And then there's the loneliness factor. Now, this part surprises a lot of people. Sleeping with a dog does not necessarily mean someone is lonely. In fact, some studies show the opposite. People with strong relationships often still choose to sleep with pets, but dogs provide something uniquely powerful: consistent companionship. Dogs don't judge. They don't argue. They don't bring emotional tension into the room. Their presence is predictable, and the human brain finds predictable companionship deeply calming. which explains another surprising discovery. Some people actually sleep better with their dog than with another person. In one large survey, many participants rated their dogs as less disruptive than human partners. Why? Because human partners bring variables, snoring, movement, temperature differences. But dogs tend to sync with their owner's sleep schedule. Over time, their rhythms adapt, and something even stranger can happen. Your nervous systems can synchronize. Recent physiological studies measuring heart rate variability, a marker of nervous system regulation, found that bonded dogs and owners often show similar stress patterns. When the owner relaxes, the dog relaxes. When the owner becomes anxious, the dog's nervous system shifts too. It's called co-regulation. Two nervous systems calming each other. And during sleep, that regulation can continue subconsciously, which means the simple act of sharing a bed might be doing something deeper than comfort. It might be helping your brain stay regulated through the night. But there's one more psychological detail. Most people miss. If someone who always sleeps with their dog suddenly stops, that change can feel surprisingly emotional. Not because the habit is broken, but because the brain loses a familiar safety cue. Humans build rituals around sleep, night routines, lighting, pillows. And for millions of people, their dog is part of that ritual, a warm, breathing signal that the environment is safe enough to shut down consciousness for several hours. Which brings us to a simple realization. Sleeping with your dog isn't weird. It's actually a modern expression of something very ancient. Humans evolved sleeping beside trusted companions. For some people today, that companion just happens to have four legs and maybe take up most of the mattress. If you wake up tonight with 6 inches of bed left and a dog sprawled across your legs, your brain might be doing exactly what it evolved to do, seeking safety, connection, and a little bit of peace before morning. And there's another strange behavior scientists are still trying to explain: why dogs stare at their owners like they're reading their thoughts. The science behind that might be even stranger. But that's a story for another video.